Hi mates, and welcome back to my World of Tanks channel. I'm Antonov as usual, and today I've got probably the last review in these holidays for you guys of the VK3601H. Now after this review I'll probably be taking a week's break because I have to go back to school and stuff, and I've really been pushing out these reviews quite a bit for the last few days. So anyway, this is a tier 6 German heavy tank, and I'm on my way to the mighty E100, although really I'm not all that excited about the E100. I really want to play tanks like the Tiger 1, Tiger 2 and E75, especially the E75. Not really looking forward all that much to the E100. I'll probably unlock it eventually, but one of my friends has got it. Doesn't seem to be that good a tank really. I think many people just head out for the E100 because it's the very first tank they want to get, just because they want to play all these tanks like Tiger 1, King Tiger, stuff like that, and then yeah, they just head out to the E100 in the end, although really they just wanted to play a Tiger 1, say, because it's quite legendary, and then they kind of end up being a bit disappointed with E100's performance. But I just figured first of all that I want to play the Tiger 2 and I want to play the Tiger as well, and E75 and stuff, and also I just thought that, because a lot of you guys are probably grinding this line, you would be interested in the reviews that I'm going to be doing on these vehicles. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm heading down this tank line. The VK3601H is, as I already said, at tier 6, and it is actually quite a unique vehicle. You can unlock it from the VK3001H or the Panzer 4H, and it leads up to the Tiger 1, which itself is probably one of the tanks that people aspire to get the most in World of Tanks probably. And the VK3601H actually didn't used to be a heavy tank. Before patch 8.8 this was a medium tank, not a bad one either. I mean, it already played a bit like a heavy tank because it was quite sluggish in a way, but after patch 8.8 it was finally changed to a heavy tank because it is a Tiger 1 prototype, and having a Tiger 1 prototype that is medium tank is kind of a bit weird, so that's why it was turned into a heavy tank. And I already uploaded a review of the medium tank 3601H a few, probably almost a year ago now, when I was grinding my way to the Leopard 1, because back then these lines joined. So yeah, a lot has changed, as you can see, and really the 3601H has not changed all that much to when it was a medium tank. It's got more health, it's slower, and it's got more armor, but really it's still kind of, you can still really see that it's the 3601H that I used to play back then. It does not feel that different really. So yeah, let's just have a quick look at this vehicle's research tree so that you know what to unlock first. Now when you got this tank from the 3001H, then you will already have the Konish gun unlocked from the 3001H. That is really good. If you're grinding to this tank from the 3001H, definitely research for Konish here before you upgrade to the VK3601, because it just makes the grind so much easier. It's so if you've got that gun unlocked already, mount it straight away. You can mount it on the stock turret with stock suspension. That's fine, just mount it. If you unlock this vehicle from the Panzer 4, it's not as easy though, because you will be stuck with the 10.5 centimeter. This is a howitzer gun. It's actually really good at tier 5, but at tier 6 it's kind of not that great anymore. So what I would recommend you do is you, if you have to grind this gun out with the 10.5 centimeter, I would probably go with gold ammunition. It's quite expensive, but it really improves the performance of the 10.5, will make the grind bearable for you. So if you can afford it, grind it out with premium ammunition, and if it's too big a pain in the ass for you, then you can stop at the 7.5 centimeter, the tier 6 gun here, and after that upgrade to the Konish. But really the Konish is the gun you want to get first, so get that straight away, because it is actually really good, and you can actually stick with this gun if you want to, but I get into that later. After that, well, really you don't have to research for the top suspension unless you really want to, because the stock suspension can carry all the modules in this vehicle, so you don't have to upgrade. After that, you can decide whether you want to go for the improved engine or the improved turret. If I were you, I would probably go with the engine, because this tank badly needs the boost in engine power. It's 100 horsepower more, you really realize the difference, and the Konish gun is totally alright. So really you don't have to mount this gun unless you really want to. So after you've gone for the engine, go for the turret, and after that unlock the top gun. You don't have to mount this. The Cornish is a viable option as well, but I'll get into that later. So yeah, after that you just go to the Tiger one and go from there basically. Yeah, let's have a quick look at the stats of this vehicle. 950 hit points, that is a lot of health. I mean, we're used to the German tanks having massive hit point pools, so at tier 6 this is really good news. That means that you can even take 3 hits from a KV-1S that, you know, is probably one of the most feared vehicles at tier 6. And, you know, most tier 6 tanks do between 100 and 200 hit points of damage, so usually you will be able to take 7 hits, up to 7 hits, or maybe even 8 hits. And that is quite good news really. It is a very heavy tank at tier 6 as well, 40 tons, just above 40 tons of my loadout. So that is quite good really. It means that like hardly anybody will be ramming you usually. Probably you're one of the heaviest. I mean, probably a KV2 or a T150 will be a bit heavier than you. I'm not quite sure, but I mean, actually, why don't we just check for a moment? Yeah, so the KV2 is quite a bit heavier, but still, the VK is quite sturdy. It is quite heavy, and you really, if there's a ramming situation, you'll come out on top. Engine power 500 horsepower. A 500 horsepower engine is quite good, but the power to weight ratio still is barely above 10, so it is really slow to accelerate. It doesn't turn very well, stuff like that. Although this tank's got a 50 kph speed limit, you will never be reaching that. Usually you'll be cruising at between 20 and 30 kph in my experience. It really is not a very fast vehicle, and that is one of the main things that changed about this tank when it became a heavy tank, was just that the speed was nerfed. It got a bigger hit point pool, but the speed was nerfed quite a bit. So usually 50 kph, you'll only be reaching that down quite a steep slope. Usually, yeah, it's quite unrealistic. Track traverse is 24 degrees per second. That's not very good really. Coupled with a 24 degrees turret traverse, which is not impressive either. If you combine the two of them, you will be usually able to prevent carousel maneuvers unless you get tracked, but you're not really that maneuverable all in all. So in kind of dogfighting situations with medium tanks, fast medium tanks, I would be careful if I were you. Like, for example, encountering an A43, say, that is very nimble, you should watch out that you don't get outflanked. I just skip for armor for the moment. We'll have a look at that in a second. The guns, well, the guns are quite interesting. You get a choice of 2 on this vehicle, and it is a real thrower which of the 2 you want to be using. You've got the 8.8 centimeter L56. That is just basically the typical tier 6 German gun. Nearly all, I think all tier 6 German vehicles get this gun, and then, or at least all heavy and medium tanks, although the Panzer IV also, the Jagdpanzer IV also gets it. And then you've got the 7.5 centimeter Konish, and well, the caliber is lower on the 7.5. According to that, the rate of fire obviously is a lot higher. It is almost twice as fast as on the 8.8, although the rate of fire on the 8.8 really still is acceptable. You really should not be complaining about this rate of fire, but you know, 14.29 is just ridiculous rate of fire really. You'll be spamming those shots out at 4 second intervals about, so that is really good. Also, the penetration is way better on the Konish gun. It is only 132 on the 8.8. Now 157 is not amazing at tier 6, but it is actually really good. It is, in a tier 6 game and even in a tier 7 game, you'll be able to penetrate nearly everything with that. So it's not like ridiculous penetration, but it is definitely enough. It's actually more than enough. And then that for me is the major letdown with the 8.8 centimeter. This 132 millimeters of pen, that is not very good at all. And that means that really, yeah, you have to hit weak spots, you have to get in close. That is for me the main downfall of the 8.8 centimeter. You can buff that penetration with premium ammo to 171, but the premium ammo on the 7.5 buffs the penetration to 221, so that is a lot better. But you don't get HE ammo on the 7.5. But you know, seriously, if you had a 7.5mm gun, would you ever be firing HE? Probably not. So yeah. The damage is quite bad on the 7.5, only 135 HP. rather than 220 on the 8.8. So yeah, that for me really is the major advantage of 8.8 over 7.5. The quite weedy damage output is, yeah, it's not that great really. So having 220 hit points of damage output per shot is very nice at tier 6. That's above average actually. Then the accuracy values, 3.4 is amazing at tier 6, 0.38 is not too bad. I mean, it could be a lot better obviously, but for an 8.8cm gun at tier 6, it's actually fairly acceptable. Then you've got a 2.3 second aiming time on both guns, so that's the same, and it is not bad at all. So which gun do you want to be using? Really, there's a case to be made for both of them, and it's all up to you. If you want to play in a sniping kind of role, you should go for the 7.5mm. With the 7.5mm Konush, this gun is it is an amazing sniper gun. With the 8.8, it's more like a brawling, typical heavy tank gun, and you really have to get in close. Now, I was using the 7.5 because I just really wanted to have accuracy and reliability, and for me, the major reason I chose the 7.5 was because of the penetration values, and basically the 7.5 just is a DPM gun, while the 8.8 is an alpha damage gun. But really, on a heavy tank, in my opinion, the 8.8mm gun probably would be the better choice, because this tank has got good armor. It's kind of got good dogfight, but kind of brawling abilities. It's kind of a tank that should be close up, and sniping with its vehicle is kind of a bit of a waste of its potential, I feel. So if I were you, I would probably go with the 8.8cm in retrospect, because it just suits this tank better somehow. But really, the 7.5 is great too, and it just depends on how you want to play this tank. For sniping, 7.5, for brawling, 8.8. That's how easy it is. Yeah, so we haven't got that many stats left really. 370 meters view range is amazing at tier 6. That is definitely above average. So that is really good news. It really allows you to spot enemies and get the first shot off in many situations. 710 meters signal range is awesome as well at tier 6. Then for equipment, well, you definitely want to mount improved vents. And for tank gun rammer, for third piece of equipment, you can choose between coated optics and the GLD. I would probably go with the GLD because, I mean, 2.3 seconds aiming time is good, but especially if you're using the Konush for sniping, I would probably rather have a GLD. The way I would handle it if I were you is, if you're using the 8.8, go with coated optics. If you're using the 7.5, go with the GLD. That's the way I would do it. But really, GLD would be the better choice in my opinion. And then crew skills, well, it really again depends on what gun you're using on this vehicle. I mean, if you're so serious about this tank that you get a crew on it, that's so good that you already can unlock crew skills. Generally, I would probably go with repairs on the entire crew, but if you decide to use the Konush gun, then, I mean, repairs probably won't be that effective. So probably you might, camouflage won't really be that great. If you use the Konush, just go with brothers in arms straight away, and then if you use the 8.8, go with repairs and then brothers in arms. 6th sense would be great on the commander, especially if you're using the Konush gun. Then for the gunner and driver, snapshot and smooth ride would be awesome, especially if you're using the 8.8cm gun. And also if you're using the 8.8cm gun, using this tank in a more aggressive playstyle, then probably clutch braking would be good on the driver as well. For the radio operator, yeah, go for situational awareness definitely, and then for the gunner, safe storage. And actually adrenaline rush would be a viable option of this vehicle too, because it's got a very big hit point pool. Yeah, so that was kind of it for the garage. We'll quickly skip to tank inspector to have a look at this tank's ammo profile, and after that it's going to be gameplay. So here's the collision model of the VK3601H. Actually, this is with the 8.8cm gun mounted. So we'll have a look at the hull armor first. You've got 100mm of, well, it's not really lower glacier, it is actually the upper lower glaciers. That kind of sounds a bit weird, but yeah, you've got 100mm here, and then this strip down here is actually 60mm. So you can actually see where the lower glaciers ends in game, because just where these track replacements stop, then that is where the lower glaciers is. So you can hit right there. If you've got problems penetrating this tank frontally, go for the lower edge of the lower glaciers and you will usually penetrate. But this is really good news here, that you've got 100mm of, yeah, lower hull armor really. And then of course this plate here is also 100mm. You've got a 60mm plate in between, but that is at a very good angle. Hardly anything will overmatch that. Usually you just avoid firing at this. Really the best place to shoot this tank frontally is probably this plate down here if you can hit it. But I mean, if a VK3601H driver is facing you head on, then usually you'll be able to penetrate this too in any tier 6 vehicle. It gets tricky when he's angling his tank, because then the effective armor thickness, let's have a quick look, goes up to 120, 130, just stuff like that. So you really want to angle your tank if you're driving a VK, because it just really improves your effective thickness. Side armor is 60mm, that is quite impressive. If you angle your tank like this, or that's maybe a bit over angled, say like this, yeah, that's probably the perfect angle you want to go for. Then you've got about 100mm of side armor, and yeah, you've got 120, 130 of frontal armor. So that's the way you want to angle your tank, about like this. Then yeah, 60mm side armor. Interestingly, you've got these kind of exhausts here next to the engine deck, and they actually count as spaced armor, so don't go shooting at those because it's really difficult to penetrate there. The effective armor thickness here is actually stronger than on the front of the tank, so just avoid firing, just avoid hitting these exhaust guards or whatever they're called at the side of the tank, because it will make penetrating quite difficult. Rear of the hull 60mm actually is not too bad, angled downwards a bit, but really anything can penetrate that. Then the turret. Interestingly, the turret armor kind of changes if you mount the 7.5cm gun. So you can see that there's actually less effective armor thickness on the front. You've got this massive gun shield here, but actually is quite strong, 120mm, 160mm, about kind of that ballpark. But if we now mount the 8.8cm gun, then we can see that it's actually a lot thicker, the gun mantlet. So that is another good argument to for using the 8.8cm gun, that you actually get more frontal armor with it. So many people probably don't notice that. Then also you've got, next to the gun mantlet, you've got a 100mm armor zone. That will very rarely get hit this part of the tank, but it is quite strong, so it will deflect quite a few shots. Then side armor for turret, 81mm, is actually very strong. You've got this massive cupola on the top that is also 80mm. It actually is not that badly armored, but it is quite let's see, it is also rounded, so really if you're going for the cupola, really it is a better option to go for the lower glaciers on this tank, because the cupola, you will usually be able to penetrate it, but it can be tricky sometimes. Then rear armor for turret, also 80mm obviously. So if you find that enemies are penetrating your turret, then what you could do is you could angle your turret about like this, because that will increase the effective armor thickness of your gun shield, and yeah, the side armor will still be quite difficult to penetrate. Yeah, so really the armor of this tank is looking very good. If you manage to angle your armor about like this, it is going to hold up really well. And also this tank gets 6 degrees of gun depression, so that's not that great, but it is alright for a German tier 6 tank. Now, one thing I want to do is I quickly want to compare the DPM values of the 8.8cm gun with the 7.5. So we can see 8.8 gets 1995 DPM, then with the 7.5 you get 2011. So interestingly, the DPM actually is not that much higher with the 7.5. So if you're choosing the 7.5 because of DPM, you may as well just get the 8.8. So with the 7.5 it just feels like it's more, it seems like with the 7.5 it's more about accuracy and that kind of, those kind of attributes, you know, not the hard stats. So yeah, that was kind of it for the Fury kind of part of this review. So that's it, out to the battlefield. I've got 2 games lined up for you guys, and let's see how this vehicle performs. So as usual, I'm going to start this gameplay off with an apology again. I'm really sorry guys, but I thought I had 2 games, but apparently I forgot to save the other game. So I've only got a game in the 8.8cm gun for you guys. Really sorry for that. But I hope this gameplay is going to make up for it. Hope that's good. I actually forgot what's going to happen in this game. So first of all, Cromwell appears, and I fire a shot, obviously way too late. So I'm just kind of guarding this corner. Now remember that with the 8.8cm gun, I've got better turret armor, or a better gun shield armor, really. So that is good news. So I don't know why that shot at the Hellcat didn't hit. Maybe I kind of just jiggled a bit with my cursor just before I fired off the shot. But there you go, there you can see the good alpha damage of this gun paying off. This is the kind of situation in which you really want to be using the 8.8cm gun and not the 7.5. If I was using the 7.5 here, I would have to remain out there in the open to kind of get the damage that I want. While with this 8.8, I just pop out, take a shot, get back into cover. And you can see, although I'm using the 8.8, my rate of fire is not too bad. It reloads fairly quickly, really. Still trying to get shots about that T1 heavy. Yeah. Finally penetrate. And the KV-1S ninjas for kill again. So there's a KV-1S now. I don't really want to poke against him. He's pre-aimed, but then he bounces. So let's quickly see where I bounce the shot for KV-1S, because he's got quite a strong gun. Can't really see. Maybe it didn't even hit me, or was that up there? No, I'm not sure. But anyway, you can see my armor is kind of really holding up here. Score 75. I'm kind of retreating here now because I don't want to get caught between the KV-1S there and Cromwell and Cheeto and stuff over there. So I'm playing it carefully. This KV-1S pal's being quite aggressive, but he's pushing over. So it looks like he wants to go for Cromwell and those guys. So I'm just waiting for this KV-1S to show a bit more of his hull. And yeah, you know, seriously, I could have driven forwards a bit more there. So I just decided, screw this kind of breaking the wall, because, you know, he's reloading for ages now, so I can easily pop out, take another shot, get back to cover. And this KV-1S really kicking some ass here. So I'm really it's kind of a bit of a throw up for me whether I should help out with KV-1S or push against the enemy KV-1S. Right there you can see another bounce. Let's see where that one hit. I really can't. Okay, there, that one, that actually penetrated, or was it HE? I'm not sure. But I really can't see where the shots hit on this tank. Anyway, KV-1S is on very low health. Right there you can see the really sluggish traverse speed. Not very nice. The KV-1S was taken out, so that's good news. That means that, oh no, that was actually another KV-1S. So that guy's still there. And he got a shot into me, but now I've got him perma-tracked, so I should be able to handle this guy here. Just hope that I can reload before he can. I'm not going to take the risk here. Draw back into cover. Let's see, who's that firing back there behind me? T1 heavy, okay. So I'm being a bit more aggressive again now. You can see the ammo capacity of this tank is quite good. I've still got 36 AP shells, 10 APCR, 3 HE. So I've got SE100 as backup here. The TD will have to tank for me, although he doesn't even have to tank, he just takes the KV-1S out straight away. And yeah. Oh, there's a Churchill 7, okay. And he takes me out. Okay, so yeah, that was kind of that game. Obviously we won the game. Not that spectacular it turned out. Still, I think that was quite a good experience. Score interestingly, not quite sure why. Dealt out quite some damage though. So yeah, I hope you appreciated this review. I fear I can't even show you the post-game stats of this game because it won't upload to whatreplays.com. So really sorry guys that kind of screwed the end of this review up. I hope I still kind of showcased some good situations with the VK. And in my opinion, it's quite a nice tank. I mean, it's obviously not competitive against vehicles like the KV-1S, but still, it is an alright tank. I'm definitely not going to keep it. It's not my favourite vehicle in the game, but it is alright, you know. It could be a lot worse, and if you're on the way to the E100 over Tiger 1, you know, it's not really like you have to, yeah, it's not really a pain to play through or anything. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, although it was kind of a bit screwed up at the end, give it a thumbs up, or even sub to my channel for more stuff like this, obviously with better quality. And yeah, I hope I see you next time, or maybe even on the battlefield. Bye bye.